Game number 2. We already have Outsider and 3T Butts with a full 50 points at the top of this game. Now, the way the point system is set up, you can still gain a lot of points from the second win, and as that combination, as Outsider and 3T Butts go, they can drop quite significantly in the standings if they don't get a good finish here too. So we didn't want it to be you win one game and you're home free and scot free. They can still have a struggle trying to win the prize if they fall outside the top 10 here. So there's a lot of pressure on them now to keep up that solid performance. As the plane comes in though, down from the bottom right hand corner of the map, down from the southeast of the map and straight up towards the north. So we do have another good spread of players across the entirety of the map. So far, some players heading to where they did before, Youngbei and Suntouch heading down towards the military base just like they did at the start of the last game. However, this time they're not alone going down there. Sacral Break nowhere near Milter Power this time. Now, remember last time they dropped around by Roshok and the Crater, grabbed a car and drove to Milter Power. This time they're dropping over by George Pol if they decide to drive off or fight in the area. And again, everyone is spreading left and right from the plane spawn. No one going straight down underneath it, despite it going over some prime loot spots.
Actually, people can also see if there's somebody dropping near them and change their course mid-flight. So this is also a safe way to play.
Yeah, but now it's laying largely unchanged majority of the flight. Boy and Ngoti then drop down on the southern coast next to a few barns and few buildings, but you ignore those and head closer towards some players. So we'll see what they choose and where they choose to go with it. Jari's already got a pistol out in those houses to the left of it. They're going to be driving for a while now. With those 5 buildings on the coast. Squad straight across the far field, and the first circle is once again up north of the map. Down on the base at the bottom south edge, Youngbei is already very low. Suntouch and Youngbei both have weapons now, but Moondai and Kwanga are holding firm inside the barracks. And on them. On an in hand, looking to go aggressively to chase Youngbei down. This is a good play. They're in a 2v1 situation because Youngbei is so split away from his teammate. So these two can get on top of him, take him out while he's still solo. Themselves in a very powerful spot, flanking through and not actually giving themselves a lot of cover in the way they run on the edge though. Youngbei, whether he saw them over there or not, we're not sure, but he is for the safe route back one towards his teammate, two away from where these two are heading. They're less in the vein of hunting him and more in the vein of just finding other buildings. To run back towards them. And they find him. He had no idea to expect them in those buildings. While they knew they were around, he'd taken the damage. Didn't think they'd have got across to that location in the moment and run straight across and out in the open for an easy kill for Moondai. Downs him and finishes him off one magazine. So his teammate still over the other side of the military base. Plenty of distance between him and this pairing, and continue to loot and maybe find a way out to safety eventually. But got to play very, very cautious now for the rest of the game. Has no teammate to be got. Up in Severny, MKR and Bonklol are both very low as they've been fighting with Nerd and K-Dop. This pairing both have an UMP and an AKM and plenty of health to play with, while Bonklol's still running around with just a pistol. As far as the pistols go, how does the 1911 damage and stuff compare against the others? Because 7 rounds compared to 15 in a 9mm pistol sounds very skewed.
Deals almost double the damage. Has lower muzzle velocity, so with a silencer it shouldn't produce a sonic crack, and actually has a bit more recoil kick.
Right, so yeah, the damage is there, but it's a little bit harder to use. But also, we have lost one of our previous champions. 3T Butts is down. Pasiphae taking him out, while Outsider is still alive, keeping the hopes of that team alive. He only holds a double-barrel shotgun and is a long way from where his squad mate fell. So, Kailank and Pasiphae sticking closer together. This is a smart way to play these early game moments here. in duos because, as you see, when one player spreads off a little bit too far, one, you don't have as many eyes looking, or 2 eyes as opposed to the 4 of everyone looking your way. It makes it harder for you to see them. Second of all, when you do get downed, you're very quickly killed off, and there's no chance of revival like we saw with both 3T Butts and with Moondye down on the island. And now they've left their teammates and abandoned them in many two. Ponyhoff and Sandcall TV pushing down towards Gatka here, which has Hayes and Utoric hiding inside. Now, judging Ponyhoff and Sandcall's movements, they may have spotted Hayes and Utoric inside this town. They're hiding behind the rocks and keeping themselves covered from it. Whether Hayes and Utoric can see approach, though, another matter. Are both inside the same building. Utoric's got a scar in hand. Hayes is still sitting there with his trusty elm. They have gone very static for a while. I suspect they may realize this is coming in. There's also a thing to note. Oh no, they're swapping loot around. Oh, the thing to note is that this push is actually slightly away from the circle. So this is an aggressive play from Sandcall Tony, going for the kills as opposed to staying alive. But that one bullet they fired off meant that Hayes and Utoric now are aware of their presence. So fight is on as Ponyhoff is just around this corner from Hayes, and just before he comes into Hayes' sideline, Hayes moves away, ducks further around. Now he's going to spot him, keep on around the corner and can't quite finish him before he makes his way into that yellow house, but he has done a lot of damage. While Sandcall is trying to flank the other side, but Utoric has that way covered. A pair of them got themselves out of this building. Sometimes inside buildings like this, fighting actually more of a challenge. Assistance have, but they've got themselves out and they've now got freedom to move. This kind of range umps that Hayes and Utoric hold are going to shine. Ponyhoff realizing that and making a break to safety. There's no helmet here on Sandcall, and as he darts across that far car, Hayes doesn't quite catch a glimpse. Car by Utoric has been picked up and he's bringing it towards his squad mate, and Sandcall and Ponyhoff tried to jump in one of their own and make a break for it, and that's two free kills for Hayes. Ponyhoff out the driver's seat first, and then Sandcall was open and exposed. So I like the ambition from the pair of them, going for that aggressive move to try and pick up some kills early instead of just going straight for the circle, but picked the wrong pair to fight and paid the price. Fuck there. Sin and Cat hiding inside the southern edge. Take and yeah. Those two though seem to be very much on the loop path here. Mobile running around from the lower sides of these. Cat and Sin have definitely spotted the pair of them.
Position. Yeah,
a lot of coverage there. If he does get spotted, he's kind of exposed, but he can see a lot of everything. And Cake, yeah, definitely don't seem to be next to it here. They are looting the building, jumping from one to the other, up through the floor, very spread. Cat and Sin watching, waiting for an opportunity to take one or two of them out. Cat has parity and Cake still holding. Oh, they're out in the open, they're swapping loot. Cat's going to look for an opportunity. Doesn't quite have space to bring his gun up in here. Has to move back down and out. Sin did fire some shots over, but hasn't landed any serious damage from the top of that rooftop. Air and Cake have got themselves into cover of their own now behind those broken walls. Cat has to fall a long way back as he does not have a lot of health to play with anymore. For an opportunity to come around them. So, red dots on both Cat and Sin. Trying to fight down and across the road. It's not the longest distance, so kind of zoom optics are not necessarily required, as meanwhile we do now spot in the bottom corner Suntouch has been finished off. So that is Suntouch and Youngbay's team completely out of the running for this game. But Cake Story and Pierre are looking to fall back now slightly towards the edge of Rozhok. Cat and Sai still keep pinned in. Now, while Cat and Sai started this fight and they were the ones looking for the opportunity to begin, they actually got themselves pinned on the less advantageous position now, as they're on the wrong side of the circle. They've got to get through those two and out the other side of Rozhok to get to safety. So Sin's landing a lot of damage to Cake this time around, and Cat's got a good angle to flank around towards Pierre, but too substantial here, just enough to put them back into cover and suppress them, but it gives Cat a chance to position around the edge for a better sightline. Yeah, managed to get himself inside that building, and Cake has popped some in to heal himself up while it all happens. Tyson still up on this same roof, taking any real pressure from this pair, and is dealing even more damage out towards Cake, who has to dart back towards the building as a result. Tyson lost his helmet, or if he even started that side, it's time to fall away himself. Cake got inside the building after taking that damage though, and it's given him a chance to heal up. Now he and Pierre have decided it's time to run as he heads back further north. Find another hill. So Sakura a break on this eastern edge. Sakura out and alone, and he was firing at that car that drove all the way past and up the top edge, and he did a bit of damage to one of the two people sitting inside of it, and Goatee by the looks of it. But as the blues coming in, normally you'd see teams start to run towards the circle from here. No, Break and Sack like to sit inside the blue for a circle a little longer than most. While players that are heading to safety deadly stop pushing themselves inside the white and getting themselves prepped and ready for the next one as well. Round, and they are obviously happy with their loot for a while. Are just running through the forest. Down over the mountain, Tommy, Rage and Stoddy up the top, having a look over it. Hayes is driving along the bottom with Yukarek, and they head towards crossing. Meanwhile, Moondai on the back of this buggy as Mehipwanga support driving through the open. There are two players waiting for him, and it's Scoom and Jamjar. They have to dart into this housing compound to try and avoid the damage, and do good most of it, but they've taken a little plink here and there, slowing down their approach. Although Jamjar and Scoom will be out of the circle for a little bit, but will be able to push themselves in with no harm their ways. Right, for a long escape up towards. That circle hits. We look to move on in. As Stabler begins to explode. Rainbow Fox is being pinned down. She's stuck between two, and actually that's because her teammate Any Noob had already been down. Lost naming credit with that kill, and Sheen TV there is a pairing to pick off 2 kills and quick loot. Stabler is one of those locations like Jaki that is ignored by a lot of players, but actually holds some very solid loot. There's a lot of spawns in there. There's a lot of locations in amongst those ruins, and while it takes a little bit of running around to find it all, there's some good opportunities in there, and it provides a good outlook and view across the rest of the map, ready for when that first circle comes. A little bit of running to be done.
Problem is it's very isolated, so you don't have a next look spot pretty close. So usually you have like a losing path. You go from place to place towards the circle, but this one is pretty isolated from the Polana, our big city, the closest real loot spot.
Yeah, as it is, Cake and Pierre managed to make it out of Rollsock and away from Cat and Sin up towards the hillside on the northern edge, and they were greeted by the running mans in K3, and K3 shuts them both out very quickly with his M16. After all that up and around, they do fall. Now Break and Sacriel are still looting their way outside the circle. Not a lot of health to play with on this, but they'll get in the car, probably heal up, and then begin to move. No, they're going to move first. All right. Break knows his health. I've seen him multiple times. Wait until the absolute last second to heal and get away with it. But hey, see if he can do it this time. Yeah, getting every little inch out of it. Meanwhile, as the rest of the circle groups up, Andy Pyro is taking down Xion. He and Natu are hiding in this gas station, but getting a little bit more loot in where they can. Sin and Cat are making it through the apartment building. Now they got Fortune on their right. Staming Machine here on the top of Stabler after looting that 2 kills they already got, are just over the edge of Hotted and Edberg. So, look to be in possession of this information. It looks like Lost and Machine are going to push towards this too. Hotted and Edberg, however, don't seem to be aware, as they are just running firmly away. Not even looking back behind them either. So they may have to be careful about getting flanked from behind here. They're also running straight down towards one more player at the bottom of the hillside. But this is the beauty of the Stabler Mountain, is that there's a lot of defilades, enfilades, and undulations on this to hide behind and to maneuver around.
terrain is actually interesting. One of the better areas to have firefights. Unfortunately, there's no places to loot or no hotspots, so that's why we don't see firefights happening in.
As we do see top of each other inside this compound. Raymond hiding in and looting through one building. He's got his squad mate nearby. There are more circles in the buildings right on top of the staircase, and he had no idea. Yo, hiding at the top of the stairs with a Vector. He's got Paddy up there with him. Air of them in the top of that 3-story building to shut Raymond out. Jessupai realizing now that they are not as alone as they thought. And despite having an AWM on Paddy, Theo and Paddy are hiding in this building. It's a proven strategy. It's what allowed and helped Outsider and 3T Butts get towards the victory last game. Why not? However, they will not be able to stay in that circle, in that building, for much more than 1 or 2 circles, because it is still very much on the edge. Meanwhile, at this stage in the game, with only 2 circles gone through, we've got a lot more players in the white now than we did last time. Headshots, Oshi7 with a Kar 98. There is an exploded Dacier. Oh no, it's just, yeah, Dacier inside that crater with Hazen Utorek at one end, Hybrid Panda and only Ferrets looking the other way in the other crater. Aware that Hayes is coming up behind him with Utorek, so they may be surprised here. Well, we do have some teams being picked off elsewhere, but just scrappy little fights. Utorek are moving as if they've seen people.
They're audacious, but they are aware of somebody.
Yeah. So Hayes and Utorek were driving. They were driving a UAZ, driving a G. But they know that there's players around because of that ACO, which is why they were being cautious. But they spent some time looking, they spent some time checking, and don't know where they are, so they decided to run to safety instead. Moondye is up on that hillside. You can see it there in the middle of the map. Serenity down in the shooting range is where Oshi7 must have been. So those shots Moondye pulled off from that hillside down into the shooting range to kill Fred, pretty impressive shots. Don't forget, guys, if you are clipping and getting shots of things from these players' perspective, from these streams, from things they have managed to do, tweet them to us at PU Battlegrounds and tag at Gamers Outreach for a chance to win copies of the game and some Astro gifts. So, option for that too. Noisy Boy up on the mountain is now making his move. The circle starts to close on in. You saw Break and Sacriel both just about got inside. They drove it and made it to safety. And are now moving towards the next circle on foot. Is our next set. It does show Paddy and Tio have to move out of that building, that compound they were hiding in. Well, Noisy Boy is actually going to come right down on top of Break and Sacriel here as he comes out of the mountain. Out of the circle for now. Path they may converge. Sakurachi still running around that area. Well, elsewhere on the map and around the circle, we are now starting to see teams close on in, because while the circle itself is covering a lot of landmass, most players were dropping out and heading towards the southeast and southwest sides of the map. Starting to converge now. Stoddy and Tommy in a Jeep of their own now, driving across this bridge that saw a lot of action in the last game, going to go past Minder and Deadly Slob. He's not going to let them go though. They did watch it, they got an eye on it, but not taking any shots just yet. Minder just crests the edge of that hill to watch them drive off and make sure they're safe, but it means they're going to drive towards Hybrid Panda and friends. Up towards that crash plane on the top of the hill. Outsider falls to Gibbs and Pieces, so though our previous champions are both down and dead. Outsider and 3 T-Butts. MKR finishes off KT Rube. Tommy Rage and Stoddy, there we go, driving around this plane again. I Need Ferrets and Hybrid Panda can hear this. Not scanning the horizon for this car, but it does duck just enough, far enough away. KT Rube finished off by MKR in this small cluster of buildings on the northern edge of town. Sada Plays is still in the building across from MKR, so it is a 1v1 now with these two in very close proximity. And Tommy is driving straight to him. Lost aiming and machine fighting Kailank and Pasiphae now, and Kailank gets the second one. Shut down in TV. He does get downed in the process, but Pasiphae should be able to pick him up when they realize they actually did manage to kill both of their aggressors. They're being cautious about it, making sure they get behind cover though, and they do have a little bit of an opportunity to work with this. Tommy Rage and Study drove past these other players and have continued to drive as Noisy Boy finds himself a car. In the move down towards what looks to be a free crate actually here for him. Decided to land right on top, and no one else is going for this. It's something else which I think we've seen here, which comes from the, as you say, the tournament side of this, the more serious side. A lot of people have already just written off going for crates because they're too dangerous. Because everyone's done that. There's actually an opportunity to get a lot done. Picks up a Tommy gun and makes a move. Level 3 vest as well. There is another car coming in. Does drive past it. Down to his right. It was Deadly Slob. In there. They saw him at the crate and saw the other beat Jeep there and decided to leave. Gibbs and Pieces though. Septic Falcon hiding in the building with Onuctive and Daisy IU in the back garden shed. Each other's there.
I think they heard each other probably.
They should have heard each other. That's for sure. Footsteps over that distance should be audible. Both cars have pulled up, so they definitely heard the cars go through. So they know there's close by. Meanwhile, they are both right in the middle of the circle. Hyundai and Mahapawanga up on this hillside, trying to use this Car 98 again to take down Ferrets, who has no idea where these shots are coming from. But Hybrid Panda can see Jari and Haymoth driving along the top edge of the hillside. Took some shots at them and tagged them while they drove, but didn't lasting down. Tommy Rage, meanwhile, been picked off by AP Video, so he and Stoddy have finally stopped driving around. And do get shot for it, but Moondai is doing work right now with this Car 98 8 times. Takes down Ferrets, peeks into the fire, but makes it work all the same. Find out where Hybrid Panda is now. Hybrid Panda cannot get over and heal Ferrets up. They know that Moondai is sitting down here with an 8 times Car 98. Now they can start pushing aggressively forward. Got that AK in his other hand. He's got a Car 98. So they've downed Ferrets, and they are pushing in roughly the right direction. Hybrid Panda sneaks around one corner, and well, squad mates for Moondai. Mahapawanga has eyes on the right tree. Shots rattling off, and now Moondai's got it zeroed in as well, and they can start to flank left and right around it. Watching closely, takes his scope off just as he peeks around the tree. Comes on out again. Moondai doesn't quite land this one. The pan! Bullet bounces off the pan to save Moondai's life. That last little bit of health he has there. Fallen down. But the blue is going to be coming in a minute's time. Moondai is stuck behind one tree, so the emphasis here is on him to make a move, especially as his teammate is currently down still. Sakura and a Breaker coming around behind him. Sakura coming over the edge of the hill. Should have seen that Molotov get thrown out. He is going to go for the shots here. It's a free kill on Hybrid Panda. Takes him out with one quick headshot, but they don't know where Moondai and Mahapawanga are now. So Moondai and have the advantage here in that they can tell and should have seen where Sakura was coming from. Yeah, so he has eyes on Sakura now because of that shot. Now Sak and Break have to find these two. So 8 times scope on this Car 98 from Moondai. Help him pin them behind the trees, and okay, they just got one kill, but now Sak's stuck behind exactly the same tree. He picked up the scar, so he's looting that, while Break's up on the hillside trying to provide some cover. Only 10 seconds to go. Moondai and Mahapawanga have decided it's time to try and fall back a little. Moondai's taking a lot of damage, but he turns and instantly downs Sakura with a quick headshot. And now they've decided, you know what, if that's going to be the case, we can stay and take this fight instead. Break now has to either pick off 2 kills and revive Sak, or abandon him and try and get to safety alone. Now Mahapawanga deciding to let these two go as is and will run to the safety and let them waste time alone. So Break stuck out now with the decision to make and has no information to make with. Thinks they're still there and will jump around a little bit to begin the revive, but they've got a long run ahead of them after that succeeded. Meanwhile, over the other side of the circle, Forsen standing next to a down player trying to fire, I think just blindly, or maybe up towards Saisin and Cat on the edge of that hillside, but he is making a break for the circle as fast as he can. Then, as he hedges towards the blue, has a car straight towards him. Jari and Haymoth looking to try and drive across the both, but they do spread it out. One of them, Jari, is knocked out of the passenger sheet by Saisin's Vector headshot. and then finished off quickly by the M16 when she's on the floor. The Jeep will head around. Scuba Jamjo hiding in a shack once more outside the circle though, and have to dart just a little bit closer through and into safety of the play zone. Forsen will finally knock out outside the play zone. Andy Pyro finished off K3 and the Running Mans as a duo. Saisin getting downed by, I believe that was Scoom peeking out of the shed to do that, but he can get to Cat and get revived in just a second. Meanwhile, Scoom and Jamjo are pushing closer to the next circle with 25 alive. Feeling confident. Sack and Break are both standing. Break now lacking health but has stopped to heal and will begin to run once again towards the next safe zone. Moondai and Mahepwanga have taken a lot of damage on their way there though from, I believe, Serenity perhaps on the far side. Gibson Pieces is still in that house in combination with his friend. So Paddy downed on this edge here by Minda. Does still have the AWM but needs to be revived. Minda is outside the blue and Tios has him pinned behind that tree. Does there die outside the play zone, but Tio, I'm not sure realizing that's him until a couple of seconds later, and will now go through to revive his teammate. So Saisin and Cat pinned down on the edge of the map now once again by Scoom and Jamjo. Grenades and smokes coming up and over the top to keep them pinned in that area, but lots of smoke grenades coming out from Saisin and Cat themselves to give them space to move and get out of and get to safety. Jamjo has eyes on. Just about catch sight of the moving tags. Cat once but couldn't track him any further through the smoke. Down to 25 seconds before the circle comes on in though. These guys have to get away from that blue. It's going to start to do some serious damage at this point in the game. Go down to the top 24. Boosters running from both players. Saisin break as the smoke coverage he thinks is sufficient as they head towards the left hand side. Scoom is ready for this though and is starting to head across that way to meet him. He has no helmet of his own though, so if they do turn for this, wow, Side does a lot of damage from that one. Side does turn on him. Does force him to get back behind that rock. Jamjo's there to cover a little bit more. Continue to run towards the circle themselves now. To drive straight past them. Up to go, and there it is. Saisin and Cat are outside the circle. Sin's got to stop and heal up as best he can in the and in the open, but it will not be enough. Cat goes prone and starts to heal of his own, but as soon as that blue hits the white, it's going to start hitting even harder. So he has to get faster and faster. Meanwhile, Scoom and Jamjo have made it to the circle and are going to be there waiting for him as a lot of players start falling all over the place. Onuktiv and Daisy Ayu are fighting Septic Falcon and Gibson Pieces finally from outside those houses. 1 for 1. Paddy with his AWM on this hillside has Tio's game close by thanks to needing a revive. Circle has stopped for now. Cat does die outside this play zone, but so does Unuktiv, Break and Sacriel also both down outside the play zone. Paddy, after reviving Tio, gets up to try and sprint away straight away, and Andy Pyro will be there to drop him straight down again, and then finish off Tio quickly afterwards for a quick team wipe. Now turns to look the other way, and Jamjo and Scoom are close. Andy's teammate is down here, so he has to try and figure out a way to get him back up. Smoke grenade out towards the tree, looking to cover either angle here. Waits the less time he's going to have to pull this off. More and more grenades going forward, but meanwhile Scoom is flanking around to the other side and he can't quite see this. He knows he is flanked on either edge now. Doesn't have the time to go for the heal. Nerd Bicep meanwhile has finally shut down Moondai and Mahepwanga. Pyro is getting grenaded from either side now. It comes on across. It's a smoke grenade of their own. We are down to 11 alive and the next circle is tiny, so a lot of these players are going to have to be wiped out. Bouncing around from these nades. Natu is very low and Andy Pyro is forced into healing him now. This is the opportunity for Jamjo and Scoom to go for a push. They are making it as Jamjo sprints straight up to the rock from the far side with a shotgun in hand. He's surrounded. It's an easy double kill to wipe them both out. That pump action shotgun, that double barrel shotgun at close range. Nenard and K-Drop now inside Severity are being taken out by Hayes and charged from behind. They thought they were safe and they come out of that building straight into a hail of rounds. Tarek still holding that trusty weapon as they now make their way across the other side of the street and away from the blue. K-Drop has healed himself up but now turns to try and fight them as they try and cross the street. He's very low as they turn back themselves. Nenard will die simply. K-Drop tries some Hail Mary bullets on towards Hayes but will not land them and does fall to the play zone. So, looking at what we have left, we have a team of Edberg and Hotted, we have a team of Utoric and Hayes, we have Jamjar and Scoom, and then the solo Noisy Boy inside the hut the center of the current play zone. Their next circle, however, is right over in Jamjar and Scoom's location. Hayes has to heal up a bit. Hotted is very low, but he's been that way for quite a while. I'm not sure he has any health or medkits. Edberg taken out by Scoom from the top of the hill. And that means 5 on the table for an already low health Hotted. Tarek and Hayes now been spotted by this too. So Jamjar and Scoom are fighting 2 fights at once here and winning. Hayes is taken down very low as well. Tarek up and over that hillside again, but is cautious about it. Both going for more heals as we're down to 40 seconds. Meanwhile, Noisy Boy is still hiding in that hut, safe from them all. Spotted Nedberg back up, both on their feet now and towards the right side of Scoom here. Actually, close to each other without it. Still top of that hut. Tarek doesn't appear to have any kind of healing. He is staying down at such a low health again. While Scoom and Jamjar are sitting top of this hill. Hot and Nedberg haven't really made any kind of move about it, and in 10 seconds, the circle's coming in. We're once more tucked inside. As Tarek now on Edberg's sights. This is the move they decided to make. It's away from the white zone and flanking on this pair. Edberg gets very low health and has to drop down. The blues now coming in. All of these pairs have to make a break for it. Edberg drops. Hayes is so very, very low. He's going to try and take Hotted out with him. And while he does enough damage, the final few kills go through to the circle. And Noisy Boy, as soon as he came out of that hut, went straight into Jamjar's sights and was shut down. And Scoom and Jamjar will be the victors of game number 2.
Very interesting rounds. Actually, also finishing location. Much more dynamic, much faster progressing. 4 players dying in the early stages.
It's an exciting round to go with, and 8 kills on Hayes. And I think that's the most we've seen out of any one player in these 2 games so far. 6 was the total that we saw from 3T Butts last game as the victors, but they fell down very early on this time, I believe. In fact, yeah, 26th place. They gained 1 singular point outside in 3T Butts from this game. So currently they're still in the running for first place for as we go into this. But now Jamjar and Scoom sitting there on, sorry, no, that's still in. Jamjar and Scoom finished inside the top 26 last game, so they're up there and towards the front spot now, having gained 50 points from here. But we have people backstage totting this all up and adding this all up for us. We'll, of course, give you game number 3, so we've done all the maths on it.